Another trade review. Today is Tuesday the 18th. Had two trades today for a total profit of 10.18%. One of those trades was a call on QQQ, and the other one was a put on QQQ. You can see my first trade, I was double the size of my second trade, so most of my profit came from the first trade. Pretty much over the, I guess you could call it weekend, on SPY and QQQ, of course, they're going to look very similar. I was looking at the charts last night. President's Day was yesterday, so market was closed. But we had kind of a continuous, let me see it a little bit better here. Continuous move up, slowly up and down. And we had this gap that had formed right here. Charted that out last night along with some other levels, but specifically watching to return. It seems like SPY and QQQ like to return in these type of situations in this gap and then decide what to do from there. So going into pre-market, I'm going to switch over to QQQ where I took my trades, but SPY is up a little bit more than QQQ. And let's go into today in the 5-minute. So this happened last night. And then we also reached a top right here, a high pre-market. And 9:30 is when we had this steep move down. A little bit before, just before market open, had a steep pull down, and then we kept moving down. Really the only levels it just completely broke through and didn't return to is right this one right here, this green line, which I believe was one of the highs that I had. I think it was actually last night what the high was before this. But it broke through that and continue moving down. I'm watching RSI. At that point, we were getting close to an hour, which typically I find RSI will not stay overbought or oversold for more than an hour if it is in a, I guess, generally strong trend. So essentially, you have all these red candlesticks in a row. At some point there will be some green. The question is, how large of a move are you expecting? So essentially, I caught it at a really good time, considering just watching that volume and considering how many we had. And got into a call right here. I was between, you see this note here, I was between the 5-minute and 1-minute charts, which the RSI will look a little bit different. So I'm just going to go into today, and then I'm going to go into the 1-minute chart. It'll look a little bit different. In this trade, I was watching more of the 5-minute. You see, we're pretty far down, oversold. You go into the 1-minute. It looks a little bit different. So in reality, I didn't catch it at the lowest point on the 1-minute chart. Really, where it started to find some support right before it found that support. So if it hadn't found that support, we had seen it continue to move down, of course, but found the support, so still got in at a pretty good time, and then had that 3 candlestick move up. But in the 1 minute chart, RSI looks almost completely different, with it being close to overbought. And then shortly after, did have a sell off. So really, we came up to overbought, and a couple minutes after, we're oversold again. After doing that multiple times, so it seemed like we had a pretty strong bearish pattern. I won't say a trend necessarily, because we are up on the day on both SPY and QQQ, but that's why it's important for me to go between the 1 minute and 5 minute and realize that there's a difference in the RSI. Of course, I was watching these candlesticks as well. This steep move down. We had a little bit more of a bounce back up than right here. Of course, this was right at open. So that's where I got my call, and I was mainly watching the 5 minute more on this one, and pretty much sold at this top here. Came back up just at this this 30 line on the RSI. That was where I sold, pretty short position, and it never went higher than that for a good amount of time. Maybe, let's see, over an hour. So good timing on that trade. Really, realistically, looking for a move back to this level right here. We did wake up pretty close, and actually after that did, but I knew that I was going against the current pattern and trend, so I wasn't looking to risk waiting for some kind of reversal. I didn't see anything like that happening. I was just looking for a bounce back up, and that's what happened. And that's where most of my percentage came from. Not too much else to that trade. And the second trade was my put that I had at this point, continuing that bearish pattern, and kind of came up and hit this level here, and then just caught that reject down. This one's pretty simple as well. To me, there was, I guess, a little bit of a divergence with volume and price. You can see this volume is less than this. If you can see it on the bottom at 10:07 versus 10:06, but the candlestick size was different. So a little bit of a divergence that I saw there, and I saw a little bit of resistance at this 538.21 ish, and then just held it to the way down, looking for a possible touch right here. Did not hold it that long either. Kind of the same thing as my first trade, where I didn't quite hold it to that level, but that trade was more in the 1 minute chart than it was the 5 minute. You can see there's not much going on with that trade in the 5 minute, but it did come down below this level, so hypothetically could have held it. But that's about it for my 2 trades. You can see here, I forgot to mention, there's kind of a psych level as well, where I sold it. It was at about that 538.5. So when looking at psych levels, even dollar amounts and 0.5s, that's also something to kind of consider for me if I'm looking at I guess, a point for movement or for price to move to. I typically don't use it that often though. Just if I'm not quite sure. It's hard to say how big that bounce back up is going to be. So that's it for today's trades. Two good trades in my opinion. Good timing. Return was all right on the day. Not look for super crazy moves. We had some positive news. It looked like. Not paying attention to that whole lot, but just looking to see what's going on within the news. And that's it for today.